Well, hello, beautiful souls. Today we're going to be discussing the dangers of being silent in a domestic violence situation. Um, I'm no expert on this. I haven't went to school for this. I just know my experience from this. And when I say my experience, I lost my sister to domestic violence in 2014. And it was a really eye opening moment for me. And what I thought I knew about domestic violence, I found out I didn't know nothing about domestic violence. My sister was in a 3 year relationship with a man that was 10 years older than her. And I had my suspicions about him. Um, well, you know how you meet somebody and you're like, I don't get a good feeling about them. That's your gut feeling, right? And so that's how I felt when I met this man. I was like, I don't even know what my sister see in this guy, but he ain't it. He is not it at all. I just didn't get I got a bad feeling in my gut. I was just like, nah, something ain't right about this guy. Well, anyway, as time moved on in the relationship, there were red flags, there were yellow flags initially, then red flags. Um, but not really, taking it that serious. My sister had a black eye one time and she lied about how she got the black eye. There was a lot of stuff going on in her home that she was not telling her sisters. And she also, would tell people, don't tell my sisters this or don't tell my sisters that. And she had two young adult children. We're on their way to young adults, 18 and 20, turning 21, 19 and 21. And she would tell them what goes on in the household stays in the household. Yeah. And especially black families, we are known to do that. We are known to like don't tell none of our business out in these streets. Um, and we're good for that. But my sister was suffering in silence. And what I found out was so many domestic violence victims suffer in silence and they hold on to those secrets. And one of my sayings is that if you don't heal from your childhood injuries, it is one of the most dangerous things to our society because what happens is you repeat the cycle. Whether you're the victim, you're going to get back in the loop, or your children's going to be in that loop of an abuser abusing them, or they become the abuser. And just as the abuser, the same thing. They're going to continue the abuse, or someone's going to be the victim of their abuse, or their seeds or whoever is gonna become the abuser. So being silent is very dangerous because it can get you killed. And a lot of people think that being silent, that's a way of protection, and it's not. It's not. Um, in some circumstances, I've seen women really, really speak out, not many, really speak out publicly. And that lowers their chance of this abuser harming them because they let someone know publicly. And a lot of times, we the victims feel threatened, so they tend to go into silence. But really, those bullies are wimps. They are wimps. and I'm speaking from a male female perspective, when that male is beating on that woman, a lot of times he's intimidated by a strong masculine man. So they like to beat on women or intimidate women because they have some type of insecurities going on with themselves. So I'm not advising anybody just to like go out and just tell all your business. But what I am saying is silence is not the answer when it comes to domestic violence. It's a really, really, really dangerous time to be silent, as well as many other things. So you just got to get in and tap in and follow your gut feeling. And I know there's a lot of things working against you in your minds because you are being torn down every day. You are being your character, your identity, your emotions, and some people are physical. So I understand what you may be going through. But just from my experience, my sister being silent and we're not really paying attention to the yellow, and then the yellow lights are flashing and then they turn into red lights like sirens. Woo, woo, woo. We missed the boat on her. But one thing that happened was she was silent. She was silent, and I would encourage anyone that's going through domestic violence, speak up, speak out, because that's what they try to encourage you to do, is not speak up and speak out and be silent. And so you're suffering in pain, and then you begin to isolate yourself, or they begin to isolate you and you begin to isolate yourself. And you're going through all this pain and silence, which can end your life. So let's sound the silence in domestic violence. That's an organization that I started because of my sister's situation. I started to sound the silence in domestic violence, and I was really, 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 really in awe of how many women were silent, even after 20 years of being a survivor, because there was so much guilt and shame associated with them being a victim of domestic violence. So, it is not your fault that someone wants to abuse you, hit on you, and things like that. But it is your responsibility to take accountability for what you will allow someone to do to you. So, speak up and get out. Speak up and get out. It's so important. It's so important. My sister name was Charlene Eastbethay, and her death was so impactful to our community. It was just very devastating to lose her in that way. And it just allowed me to campaign for those that are silent. Whether you're a victim or a survivor, like I said, there are still survivors. They carry so much shame and guilt. They don't even want to talk about what they went through, and they are suffering silently because they have not recovered 100% mentally as to what they went through. So just be a voice, pay attention to your loved ones or friends or whoever that you may have suspicions that they're going through domestic violence and they're not talking. Pay attention to their behaviors, their withdrawals. Just be mindful and also be empathetic to their pain. Sometimes a lot of times victims do not want to talk about their situation is because they feel like they're going to be judged. Um, and sometimes it's hard to talk to your family member as a victim because your family be ready to go in. They be ready to like, hey, and sometimes that isn't the way. And sometimes maybe it is. Maybe it is. So I just want to encourage any victim out there. You are not alone. Don't feel like you're alone. Get some help. Start making plans for your escape plan if you don't desire to be in the relationship. Release the fear as much as you can, because fear will keep you in bondage, kind of lock you up. So I am utilizing some tools that will help, hopefully, give women hope, and that will help relieve them mentally and spiritually, and give them some guidance on how to move out of their situation. But first, we got to get the mental blockage out the way. We got to heal those chakras. And some of the things that you may be going through is a reflection of something in your childhood that brought you to this situation. And I wrote a book called Sound the Silence. It's called A Sister's Cry to Sound the Silence in Domestic Violence. I don't mean that. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's not A Sister's Cry. I don't even know the name of my own book. Okay, that was going to be my original name, A Sister's Cry to Sound the Silence in Domestic Violence, but I end up naming it Her Voice Beyond the Grave, A Sister's Cry to Sound the Silence. Yeah, that was just going to be my title, but this was my subtitle. So, that book really helped me realize the struggles my sister had went through and how everything related to our childhood traumas. And so it's a really good book. I wrote it from her voice, as if it was her perspective. So it really, really was a eye-opener for me, gave me a lot of insight on what domestic violence victims go through. So I pulled all her documentations from police reports, from court, all those things, and I really dug deep and wrote this book in 9 months. But I really, really dug deep, and actually I also did like some of her friends, talked to some of her friends. And just from some of the experience I went through with her during that time. And I just brought it all together. And I thank the Most High, the Divine, for giving me the insight and vision to get this book written so it could help people that are going through this situation. I actually, in 6 weeks, had sold 100 books in 6 weeks, which I thought was amazing. And it was during 2020. It was during when they said, y'all cannot come outside. But anyway, I just feel the importance of not being silent. It's just so important not to be silenced. No matter what they tell you, I just think it's so important not to be silent and get some help. So, with all that being said, my name is Cassandra, but they shine. And it is through our voices and stories that we can help or inspire others to become survivors. Have a great day.